You're jamming to electromagnetic radio. Music at the speed of sound. em-radio.com.
Hello?
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Mañana viernes, sábado y domingo estaré atendiendo.
De la que me hablas, 728 es la de El Güero.
Dear God, hope you got the letter and I pray you can make it better down here. I don't mean a big reduction in the price of beer, but all the people that you made in your image, see them starving on their feet, 'cause they don't get enough to eat from God. Can't believe in you.
Dear God, sorry to disturb you, but I feel that I should be heard loud and clear. We all need a big reduction in amount of tears. All the people that you made in your image sit and fighting in the street, 'cause they can't make opinions meet about God. I can't believe in you. Did you make disease and the diamond blue? Did you make mankind after we made you? And the devil too. Dear God, don't know if you know this, but your name is on a lot of quotes in this book. That's crazy humans wrote it, you should take a look. And all the people that you made in your image still believing that junk is true. Well, I know it ain't so to you. Dear God, I can't believe it. I don't believe it. I won't believe in heaven, hell, no saints, no sinners, no devil as well. The pearly gates, no thorny crown. You're always letting us humans down. The wars you bring, the babes you drown, those lost at sea and never found. And it's the same the whole world round. The hurt I see helps to compound. The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It's just so noise on the holy host. And if you're up there, you perceive that my heart's here upon the sea. If there's one thing I don't believe in,
It's you. Dear
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Black Shirt Mixtape, live on Electromagnetic Radio. My name is Jesse, and I'll be your host on this sonic journey for the next 2 hours or so. And my friends, I am really excited about tonight's show. I know I say that a lot, but this was a really fun show to put together. And tonight will feature two of my favorite artists, XTC and Elvis Costello, right? And I had been listening to a lot. I mean, I still listen to these guys a lot, both of these artists. And it makes me sad that XTC is not a bigger band. But as I was listening to the two artists together, they're such a close. They really sit at the intersection of like they both have this like punk energy and this pop intelligence, and their lyrics, like lyrically, like Andy Partridge and Elvis Costello, like they write very similar, very English style, you know. And I felt like, okay, here's an opportunity for me to like I could build a show around this. You have to kind of to really understand both of these artists. You kind of have to take a little bit of a walk back, right? So late 70s in the UK, music scene, there was a lot of wreckage was left behind in the late 70s, right? So punk burned fast. It stripped everything down. And then what, right? Once that was gone, what comes next after you've torn it all apart, which is what punk did, right? So some artists got louder, some artists got simpler, and some just got smarter. And I think that's where these two artists live, right? They live in this space between, I don't know, like urgency and precision, right? A little bit of anger, a little bit of architecture when you look at XTC. You know, they live in the hook, and some are more subtle than others. But it's two artists, same era, but totally different instincts, right? And we're gonna take a little journey through both of these artists' catalogs and really talk a lot about the similarities and the differences between Andy Partridge, who's the lead singer, guitar player for XTC and wrote the majority of their music, as well as Elvis Costello. Stuff that he did with the Attractions, stuff that he did solo. I mean, they've both had very very different careers, but very similar music. So we kicked off the show with obviously the song that really, really gained XTC some notoriety, right? Dear God, off their excellent Skylarking album. We're going to be playing a couple tracks off of that tonight. But I think that that's really a great introduction into the songwriting style of Andy Partridge, right? Heavy thematically, very lush, but very catchy. I'm going to steer away from, as I always do. XTC has a lot of songs that should have been hits, but I'm not going to play. I'm going to try and play some maybe underserved Elvis Costello tracks, stuff that I really love. And that's kind of what we're going to play next from Elvis. We're going to play a track off of an album that he did called Brutal Youth, which was really the first time that the Attractions, or the majority of the Attractions, got back together to record, right? He's recorded sporadically throughout the years with Steve Naive, who is his pianist, keyboard player, and then Pete Thomas on drums. And they came together and they recorded a couple of tracks back in the 90s off of Brutal Youth, late 90s. And I'm going to play this track called 13 Steps Lead Down. I really love it. I think it rocks just as powerful as some of the Attractions' earlier stuff. But I'll leave that up to you to decide. So once again, tonight is a special XTC and Elvis Costello episode. You're listening to Black Shirt Mixtape live on Electromagnetic Radio. Enjoy.
When nobody knows, she puts on secret clothes and lies in the meadow with her hands tied behind her back. I won't refuse if you know how to use it. Just stop playing that ugly drug music. 13 steps lead down, 13 steps lead down. There's commoners and kings, and everyone's a prisoner of Nebu and you and the decent baby sisters. So tonight I'm drinking to you now, because I just can't stand myself. 13 steps lead down, 13 steps lead down, 13 steps lead down, 13 steps lead down. rise in splendor for a picture opportunity. Cover up that bruise, put on patent leather shoes. Just stop playing that bad mood music, baby. 13 steps lead down, 13 steps lead down. There's commoners and kings, and everyone's a prisoner of paper and glue, and a decent pair of scissors. So tonight I'm drinking to your health, because I just can't stand myself. 13 steps lead down, 13 steps lead down, 13 steps lead down, 13 steps lead down.
First there's a handshake, it's a wall that you could break by a design to take attention from their ugly underneath. Then there's the wording, the coordinated banging, and the fairy tale shredding. Boy, it's ugly underneath. And after the pretty, there's a gluttony, a pity, all a kick on itchy gritty, and it's ugly underneath. Did you ever try to prize away the man? Take a small and try. I can tell you it's a Herculean task. It's okay to cry. What you're chewing on's the truth, and that's the hardest thing to watch down with a glass of lemonade. The ugly underneath. The thing with politicians is I wouldn't have suspicions if I saw the worst positions, and they're ugly underneath.
checkpoint Charlie. He didn't crack a smile, but it's no laughing party when you've been on the murder mile. Only takes one itchy trigger, one more widow, one less white nigger. Oliver's army is here to stay. Oliver's army are on their way, and I would rather be anywhere else right here today. Hong Kong is up for grabs. London is full of dabs. We could be in Palestine, overrun by a Chinese line, with the boys from the Mersey and the Thames and the Tyne. But there's no danger. It's a professional career, though it could be arranged. We're just awaiting Mr. Churchill's here. If you're out of luck or out of work, we could send you to Johannesburg. Oliver's army is here to stay. Oliver's army
So I hope that you can hear like just, off of those couple of songs, like such a duality, right, between both artists. It's really interesting to see, XTC really leaned into angular guitars, odd rhythms, and studio experimentation. Sorry, I've got a gaggle of teenage girls leaving my house for a party. Who goes to a party at 9:30 at night on a Thursday? Well, they don't have school tomorrow. Very sus. Anyway, coming out of punk again, these two artists, they rebuilt and focused on complexity. As I was saying, XTC leaned into, odd time signatures, rhythms, and they were heavy into studio experimentation. And Costello fused obviously that punk urgency on his first two albums, with more classic songwriting. He experimented with Motown, with country, Tin Pan Alley, and it's kind of like, this is what happens when the punk kids grow up but don't mellow out, right? They just keep doing really interesting stuff. So let's take a little walk through that run there. So we had 13 Steps Lead Down off of Brutal Youth. And then we had a track called The Ugly Underneath by XTC off of what I consider their most cohesive album. It's my favorite, which was None Such. That came out in 1992. And I remember because I was a freshman in college and two really pivotal albums for me came out that year. One was None Such, and then the other was an album that Terrence Trent D'Arby put out called Welcome to My Monasterio. No, is that what it's called? So it was so impactful, I don't remember the name. Anyway, those two records came out, and I listened to them nonstop for that entire year. And I feel like it's the production work that he did with Gus Dungeon really highlighted a lot of what they were looking for to do in the studio. Because lead singer Andy Partridge. So let's back up a little bit. XTC formed in 1972 in Swindon, England. Main members of the band, obviously, Andy Partridge on vocals and guitars, and you had Colin Moulding, vocals and bass. Their drummer at the time was Terry Chambers for a while. Then he left. They were kind of like Spinal Tap. They had a revolving door of drummers. And then they had another member join the band, Dave Gregory, who spent time with them, and then also in a kind of like a spin-off group that they did called the Duke Stratosphere. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on because that bleeds back into XTC. But around the time that Senses Working Overtime came out, which is the last song that we played, Andy Partridge had a bit of a mental breakdown. He was heavy on drugs, mostly like pills, and they stopped touring. And I went down a bit of a rabbit hole on XTC, and a lot of people say, well, that's probably the reason why they weren't as famous, because they couldn't tour they couldn't tour in the UK. They most definitely couldn't tour in the US. Andy just was not interested in going on stage anymore. He had stage fright and just major anxiety. They spent a lot of time in the studio. I think that might have hurt them a little bit, but if you are like me and you're Gen X, growing up listening to the radio, you heard a lot of XTC on like alternative radio stations, which is awesome. So after The Ugly Underneath, we played Oliver's Army off of that's Elvis Costello and the Attractions, and that was off of a really great album called Armed Forces, which was his third record, and was a major deviation for him. His first My Aim Is True and then this year's Model were really kind of punky, and Elvis Costello made a definite decision to shift to a more commercially viable album, more sound, focusing more on new wave. Yeah, I lost my train of thought there. But what I think is really cool, and getting back to the original idea for doing this show was, when I was looking at like a connective thread between these two artists, right? And it really came down to songwriting. Andy Partridge writes very surreal, very layered, heavy on imagery. And Elvis Costello uses razor sharp, often bitter, very bitter observational lyrics, right? So we kind of went through this exercise a couple episodes ago with Nirvana and Pixies, right? And talked about the dichotomy between the two bands and how one was very insular, one was very extroverted. And I think that you could somewhat apply that to these two artists as well. But let's go ahead and continue. Let's go ahead and continue the tunes, because that's what you came here for, really. Not to listen to me so much. We're going to play a track called Beyond Belief. One of my favorite Elvis songs. And I got to see him 2 years ago, and he played this. It was like almost off the cuff. I don't think it was on the set list, and he just started playing the chords, and then the band jumped in with him. And he played a little bit of a different version, but it was still super powerful. But I love this track. I love that he's getting a little woozy. It's very hazy. But anyway, you're listening to Black Shirt Mixtape live on Electromagnetic Radio. Enjoy.
History repeats, the Hulk sits. The clip replies, the same defeats. Keep your finger on the button. Issues with crocodile tears and a pocket full of tissues. And just the oily slick on the wind-up world of the nervous tick. In a very fashionable hovel, I hang around and to be tortured. You'll never be alone in the bone arches. Scrabble with the bottle is nothing so novel. So in this almost empty gin palace, through a two-way looking glass, you see her Alice. You know she has no sense for all your jealousy. In a sense she still smiles, very sweet. Charged with insults and flattery, her body moves with malice. Do you have to be so cruel to be callous? And now you find you fit this identical completely. You say you have no secrets, then leave discreetly. I might make a California spot, be locked in Geneva's deepest vault, just like the canals and Mars and the Great Barrier Reef. I come to you beyond belief. My hands were clammy and cunning. She's been suitably stunning, but I know there's not a hope in Hades. All the laddies cat called wolf whistle, so-called gentlemen and ladies, dark fight like rose and thistle. I got a feeling I'm gonna get a lot of grief. Once it seemed so appealing, now I am beyond belief. I got a feeling I'm gonna get a lot of grief. Once it seemed so appealing, now I am beyond belief. I got a feeling I'm gonna get a lot of grief. Once it seemed so appealing, now I am beyond belief.
Drowning here in summer's cauldron, under mats of flower lava.
pretty little hair of yours. What goes on in that place in the dark? Well, I used to know a girl and I could have sworn that her name was Veronica. Well, she used to have a carefree mind of her own and a delicate look in her eye. These days I'm afraid she's not even sure if her name was Veronica. Do you suppose the waves in hands are eyes Veronica gone to hiding? All the time she laughs at those who shout her name and steal her clothes. Veronica, Veronica. The days drag by and the favors wane, and he roam down the town all the while. Will you wake from your dream with a wolf at the door, reaching out for Veronica? Well, it was all 65 years ago, when the world was the street where she lived, and the young man sailed on a ship in the sea with a picture of Veronica. I'm the empress of India. And as she closed her eyes upon the world and picked upon the bones of last week's news, just spoke his name out loud again. Do you suppose the waves and hands and eyes Veronica gone to hide him? All the time she laughs at those who shout her name and steal her clothes. Veronica, Veronica. Veronica sits in her favorite chair. She sits very quiet and still, and they call her a name that they never get right, and if they don't, then nobody else will. But she used to have a carefree mind of her own, with the devilish look in her eye, saying you can call me anything you like, but my name is Veronica. Do you suppose the rains and hands and eyes Veronica gone to hide him? All the time she laughs at those who shout her name and steal her clothes. Veronica, Veronica.
So that's like the poppiest song ever about Alzheimer's. If you listen to the lyrics, I mean, that's really what it's about. And what I love about that track, so that was Veronica off of I believe it was 1986, Elvis's album called Spike. So in the late 80s, Paul McCartney and Elvis, who were good friends, they kind of helped each other out on some material. So as the story goes, Elvis was kind of having some writer's block. He had fragments of songs and just really was struggling to kind of get things, together in a coherent format. And so Paul stepped in and helped him specifically. I think that was the first song they worked on together, which Paul plays bass on. And he helped him write a handful of tracks on the album. And then Elvis returned the favor with Paul's album Flowers in the Dirt, which I find infinitely cool, and you can totally tell instantly when you learn that Paul McCartney was involved in Veronica. You're like, yep, I can totally hear it. Like just that jaunty, Beatlesque kind of, rhythm to it and the harmonies and all that. Really, really very cool. So he kicked off that run with Beyond Belief by Elvis Costello and The Attractions, one of my favorite tracks of theirs. And then we segged into, so if you've been paying attention, and very similarly to the Nirvana Pixies show that I did, I'm playing one song from each artist alternating, except for that little run there because, and I'll explain why. So we played two tracks off of Skylarking, Summer's Cauldron and Grass. And the reason why I played them back to back is because that's how they're sequenced on the record, and that's how they're mixed together. Summer's Cauldron goes right into Grass, and it sounds very weird if you clip it. And that's always how I've listened to it, so I'm used to it that way. But Skylarking was a very interesting record because you know, XTC would have like moments of success and then they'd put something out and would go nowhere. And their label decided to pair them up with Todd Rundgren, who is an American artist, producer. He was kind of, I don't want to say he's proggy in the 70s, but he had this really awesome studio in upstate New York. And the band kind of decamped there and wrote Skylarking, which is their most, probably their most beloved album. And the interesting thing was when the record was released, this is insane. Grass, right? So the second of the two tracks, that was the lead single. And the B-side was Dear God, which is what we kicked off the show with, right? Insane. How is that a B-side? So that, you know, college station DJs started flipping and playing the B-side, playing Dear God. So the record company had to go back and repackage the record with Dear God on it. Video got a lot of play on MTV. The track got a lot of traction across college stations around the U.S. And to this day, that's one of their top-selling records. But the sessions were very fraught with a lot of tension between Andy and Todd. You know, Todd came in and he had a lot of ideas for all the orchestral stuff. He was very heavy in the drum, laying down the drums and the drum programming. Because at this point, Terry Chambers had gone, left the band. But I love that album. That's my second favorite, but universally, that's kind of like everybody loves that album. And how can you not? If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend that you just go put it on, let it play, whether you're doing chores around the house or the dishes or whatever, or just maybe laying still. You know, I'm waiting on a vinyl box set of Jeff Buckley's Live at Chennai because I just want to put it on and just turn the lights down and just listen to it. Because that's a lost art, really, I think, with streaming. Nobody really putting on a record and letting it play and flipping the side or flipping the cassette or, you know, that's a lost art. Makes me sad. So I kind of lied a little. I said I wasn't going to do back-to-backs. I know I just played Elvis, but I'm going to play another Elvis track. I'm kind of moving things around. And I'm going to play a track off of King of America called Brilliant Mistake. And if you follow along with the words, it's pretty applicable to today. If you caught my last episode where I was very upset, we talked a lot about what a shit show this country, the United States is at the moment. But I digress. We're not going to go there anymore. We're going to continue this lovely journey listening to XTC and Elvis Costello. You're listening to Black Shirt Mixtape live on Electromagnetic Radio. Enjoy.
Thought he was the king of America when they bought Coca-Cola just like vintage wine. Now I try hard not to become hysterical, but I'm not sure if I'm laughing or crying. I wish that I could push a button and talk in the past and not the present tense. Hurting feeling disappear like it was common sense. It was a fine idea at the time. Now it's a brilliant mistake. She knew how to use her perfume was unspeakable. It lingered in the air like her artificial laughter and mementos of affairs. was the king of America, but it was just a boulevard of broken dreams. A trick they do with mirrors and with chemicals. The words of love and whispers and the acts of word and screams. I wish that I could push a button and talk in the past and not the present tense. And watch this love and feeling disappear like it was common sense. I was a finite beer at the time. Now I'm a great mistake. I was a finite beer at the time. Now I'm a great mistake. watching the detectives. Ooh, he's so cute. She's watching the detectives. When they shoot, they beat him up until the teardrops start. But he can't be wounded 'cause he's got no heart. Long shot attack, jumping sign. Invisible shivers running down my spine. Cut the baby, taking off her clothes. Close up with a sign that says we never close. You snatch a chew and you match a cigarette. She pulls the eyes out with a face like a magnet. I don't know how much more of this I can take. She's filing her nails while they're dragging the lake. She's watching the detectives. Oh, he's so cute. She's watching the detectives. Oh, and they shoot. They beat him up until the teardrops start. But he can't be wounded 'cause he's got no heart. You think you're alone until you realize you're in it now. Fear is here to stay, love is here for a visit. Call it instant chess when it's past the legal limit. Someone's scratching at the window. I wonder who is a better detective from the tech if you belong to the parents who are ready to hear the rest about their daughter's disappearance. So it really took a miracle to get you to stay. It only took my little fingers to blow you away. Just like watching the detectives. Don't get cute. Just like watching the detectives. Get so angry when the teardrops start. But he can't be wounded 'cause he's got no heart. Watching the detectives. It's just like watching the detectives. 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 of sour grapes. You better watch your step. Watch who's knocking on your front door. Now you know that they're watching. What are you waiting for? Think you're young and original. Get out before. Then get to watch your step. Every day is full of fun and family spice. They're making heroes out of Fall Guys. They say it's good for business. From Singapore to witness. You better watch your step. Broken noses hung up on the wall. Backslapping drinkers cheer the heavyweight brawl. So punch drunk they don't understand it all. You better watch your step. Every night go out full of carnival desires and end up in the closing time choirs. When you're kicking in the cargo, when you're drinking down the eau de cologne, when you're spitting out the Kodachrome, you better watch your step. Bye, I'll send you all my regards. You're so tough, you're so hard. Listen to the hammers falling in the breaker's yard. You better watch your step. You better watch your step. Ooh, watch your step.
Oh man, that was such a great little run there. I was actually going to let it go longer, but then I realized I should probably jump back on and talk through some of these songs. You know what's really interesting about Andy Partridge and Elvis Costello, right? It's they're two different artists, but they came from the same era, but they have totally different instincts when it comes to like songwriting, right? I feel like Costello writes, I don't know, like he's almost like he's sharpening knives in public, right? He writes songs about jealousy, paranoia, heartbreak, all laid bare, no filter, no apology. And Andy writes these like strange, there's like these beautiful little machines of melody, right? And his songs, they just like, I love how they have like crazy little twists in them, and then they'll bloom and then they'll reassemble themselves. And then you're like, all of a sudden you're at this super catchy chorus, right? But all the while, you can still draw a direct line to the punk ethos, right? And it's so great to go through their discography and look at the evolution, right? The evolution of structure, the evolution of writing a catchy song, right? It's like, sometimes I can't believe that. I mean, Elvis Costello is pretty popular for the most part, but I can't believe XTC, never really got the same kind of love. It's crazy. Okay, so we kicked off that run with Brilliant Mistake by Elvis off of King of America. As I mentioned earlier, he's more of the one that dabbles in the variety of different styles. And that was obviously sort of in the country vein. I mean, he did a great album called Almost Blue that was mostly country covers. I mean, he's done stuff with, he's done orchestral stuff. He's done stuff with Burt Bacharach. I mean, just all over the place. And then we played The Mayor of Simpleton by XTC off their excellent Oranges and Lemons. So I mentioned we would talk about this a little bit later in the show. So Oranges and Lemons was the follow-up to Skylarking. And in between Skylarking and Oranges and Lemons, the band decided to, in order to reinvigorate themselves, they started releasing some stuff under a different moniker called the Dukes of Stratosphere. And it was very psychedelic. And it became really popular in England, in Europe, and sold a lot of records. And they were like, huh, okay, so you don't like us as XTC. It's the same group, Dukes of Stratosphere. So a lot of that bled over into Oranges and Lemons, right? We played King for a Day. We played the Mayor of Simpleton. I love that record. That was really big when I was in high school, listening to 91X in San Diego. That was the alternative station that we listened to. Love it. I really love that they kind of took a swing there on that and really dipped more than their toes in the 60s kind of psychedelia. Then we listened to Accidents Will Happen by Elvis Costello, and then obviously Watching the Detectives off of his debut record, My Aim Is True. I said I wasn't going to play a lot of the hits. I mean, you kind of have to play Watching the Detectives, and you kind of have to play Alison, which we'll be hearing a little bit later. Those are kind of like touch points for the Elvis Costello fan. And then we swung back to my favorite XTC album, None Such, and played a track called Dear Madam Barnum, which I just love the lyrical. Andy just paints a great story. I mean, the images in your head that you can kind of conjure up while you're listening to the song is just really, really cool. Let's see. Do I want to go down this road? How much time do we have left? I'm always looking at the time, 10:15. Yeah, we got to kind of run through. We're going to skip ahead. I'm going to skip over. I was going to play a track, another one off of None Such, and then I was going to play High Fidelity from Elvis. But I'm going to skip on those because I've got some other tracks of theirs that I want to play. So let's play another song from XTC off of Skylarking. Again, this is called Earn Enough for Us. You're listening to a special episode of Black Shirt Mixtape, XTC and Elvis Costello. Enjoy. Nope, we're not going to enjoy that. See, this is live radio. Here we go. This is Earn Enough for Us by XTC, live on Electromagnetic Radio, Black Shirt Mixtape. Enjoy.
Humiliation,
so funny to be seeing you after so long, girl. And with the way you look, I understand that you were not impressed. But I heard you let that little friend of mine take off your party dress. I'm not gonna get too sentimental like those other sticker Valentines, 'cause I don't know if you are loving somebody. I only know it isn't mine. Alison, I know this world is killing you. Oh, Alison, my aim is true. Well, I see you got a husband now. Did he leave your pretty fingers lying in the wedding cake? You used to hold him right in your hand. I bet it took all he could take. Sometimes I wish that I could stop you from talking when I hear the silly things that you say. I think somebody better put out the big light, 'cause I can't stand to see you this way. Alison, I know this world is killing you. Oh, Alison, my aim is true. 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 We're only making plans for Nigel. We only want what's best for him. We're only making plans for Nigel. Nigel just needs that helping hand. And if young Nigel says he's happy, he must be happy. He must be happy. He must be happy in his world. We're only making plans for Nigel. He has this future in a British steel. We're only making plans for Nigel. Nigel's whole future is as good as seal. Yeah, and if young Nigel says he's happy, he must be happy. He must be happy. He must be happy in his world. Nigel is a nice spoken, but he likes
others be happy in his world. As the giggling crew of Mary Celeste
day, working on the sequel, and I'm giving you a longing look. Every day, every day, every day, every day I write the book. Every day, every day, every day I write the book. Every day, every day, every day I write the book.
Every day, every day, every day, every day I write the book. I'm giving you a loving look every day I write the book.
I'm giving you a loving look every day I write the book.
I'm giving you a loving look every day I write the book.
I'm giving you a loving look every day I write the book. I'm giving you a loving look every day I write the Little triggers that you pull with your tongue. Little triggers. I don't wanna be hung up, strung up when you don't call up. Little sniggers on your whoops. Little triggers in your grip. Little triggers. My hand on your hip. Thinking all about those censored sequences, worrying about the consequences, waiting until I come to my senses. Better put it all in present tenses. Little triggers that you pull with your tongue. Little triggers. I don't wanna be hung up, strung up when you don't call up. Little sniggers on your lips. Little triggers in your grip. Little triggers. My hand on your hip. Worrying about the common decency when it is only a question of frequency. When you say okay, but I gotta cheat to bit. Saying you're tired of me when you don't even reconvene. Little triggers that you pull with your tongue. Little triggers. I don't wanna be hung up, strung up when you don't call up. Little sniggers on your lips. Little triggers in your grip. Little triggers. My hand on your hip.
Oh man, I love that track. That is Little Triggers off of this year's Model, which was his sophomore, Elvis Costello with the Attractions, his sophomore album. I hope that you've been enjoying the episode tonight. And I hope that you've been enjoying kind of going down, a path with some maybe less known, right? If you've only heard the well-known tracks, hopefully you'll find this episode is like an impotence to do a little bit more digging in their catalog. Because I promise you, the deeper that you go with these guys, the less predictable it becomes, right? There's some definite, like, really strange song structures, risky ideas, and quite frankly, moments that shouldn't work, but do. And I think that's a big part of that is is built around trust, you know, that these artists have with their audience. And it's interesting because, you know, these two artists started out on parallel paths, you know, coming out in the late 70s, early 80s, right? It was very punk adjacent, very sharp, very immediate. And then it opened up into something a little bit wider, right? Very much more color, more space, more possibility, but the core of it is still right there. The tension, the intelligence, right, in their songwriting. So we heard, we played Earn Enough for Us off of Skylarking again. You can see that I'm leaning towards two of my favorite records I played a lot of stuff off of. And then obviously, you know, one of Elvis's best known tracks, Alison, off of his debut, My Aim Is True. And then Making Plans for Nigel, which I think is also synonymous. Have I played Senses Working Overtime? Going through I did. Sorry, I played that earlier. Okay, just making sure. Phew. Okay, so Making Plans for Nigel off of Drums and Wires. One of my favorite album covers. I have a cool t-shirt that I wear a lot with that cover. And people are like, what is that? Who's XTC? And then I tell them, you should just go listen to them. I'm not even going to bother explaining it to you. And then, you know, things kind of went a little sideways. So I played another XTC song right after it, off of None Such. Then She Appeared. And then we heard Every Day I Write the Book, which was Elvis's stab at a major push towards commercialism by working with Clive Langer and Alan Winstanley. They're synonymous with pop in the UK in the 80s. And that video is great. If you've never seen it, it's Charles and Diana. Well, not really them, but lookalikes. And it's like a behind the scenes, like a day in the life. I mean, it's hysterical. So well done. And then little triggers. So we're coming up towards the end of the show. We got a little bit more time. I've removed so many songs off this playlist that I'll probably end up playing some non-Costello and XTC songs to close out the show. But let's I want to play another track off of None Such called The Disappointed, which is one of my favorite tracks on the record. And it's just such a lush, it's got such a lush sound to it. I just love it. I can't get enough of this record. So here's The Disappointed, Black Shirt Mixtape, Electromagnetic Radio. Enjoy.
Shuffle round in circles. Their black cars look the same.
Mr. Oswald with a swastika tattoo. There is a vacancy waiting in the English voodoo. Carving beef for Vandal on the guilty bar's head. When it's had enough of that, maybe you'll take him to bed too. When he's alive, or he wishes he was dead. Turn up the TV, no one listening will suspect. Even your mother won't detect it, so your father won't know. They think that I got no respect, but everything means less than zero. Hit, 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 hit. Oswald and his sister are doing it again. They got the finest home movies that you have ever seen. They got 1,000 variations, every service with a smile. They're gonna take a little break and they'll be back after a while. Well, I hear that South America is coming in a style. Turn up the TV, no one listening will suspect. Even your mother won't detect it, so your father won't know. They think that I got no respect, but everything means less than zero. Hit, 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 hit. The pistol was still smoking, a man lay on the floor. Mr. Oswald said he had an understanding with the law. He said he heard about a couple living in the USA. He said they traded in their baby for a Chevrolet. Let's talk about the future now, we put that past away. Turn up the TV, no one listening will suspect. Even your mother won't detect it, so your father won't know. They think that I got no respect, but everything means less than zero. Hit, hit, hit,
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That is a well-written pop song. It doesn't get any better than that. And it just blows my mind that those guys aren't as popular as they were. They're like your favorite band's favorite band. And everybody loves Elvis Costello, but you know, he I don't know if he gets enough credit as a songwriter. I'm staring at this really cool poster I bought at the show, and I saw him in 2024. This is great. Anyway, this has been a super fun show. It's been really fun. I'm going to start doing more stuff like this, right? I did the Nirvana's Pixies episode. I got this one. And I think it's just really fun to kind of break down, you know, similarities, you know, between bands, right? And I think with XTC and Elvis Costello, what the throughput with these guys is they took something, they started with one thing and then they rebuilt it, right? They didn't take a safe route. They turned it into something stranger, something smarter, something harder to pin down, right? Especially with Elvis. He's all over the map in terms of musical style. You know, but that brings, to me, songs that kind of reward attention, right? They don't change, or they change shape over time, right? So it's not just that they stay with you. For me, it's just they keep revealing themselves. And maybe that's the through line for tonight, right? It's not just great songwriting, but it's songwriting that evolves with you. And I think that having listened to these guys for so long, these two artists, and absorbed their catalog, it always takes on a different form for me. And I love that. So we heard The Disappointed off of None Such, Less Than Zero off of My Aim Is True, and then Books Are Burning off of None Such again. So really want to thank everyone for listening as usual. If you would like to check out our other artists in the electromagnetic stable, please head on over to our website, em-radio.com. Look for the Mixcloud link, and you'll find everyone there. We also have merch for sale, hats, stickers, I believe hoodies and t-shirts. So head on over there if you want to represent the awesomeness that is electromagnetic radio. And I'm going to send us off with a really great track of Elvis called Almost Blue. I love it. It gets me a little emotional sometimes, but as always, thank you for listening. And remember, be kind to one another because it's free.
Almost blue, almost doing things we used to do. There's a girl here and she's almost you, almost all the things that your eyes once promised I see in hers too. Now your eyes are red from crying. Almost blue. Flirting with this disaster became me. It named me as the fool who only aimed to be almost blue. It's almost touching, it will almost do. There is part of me that's always true. Always. Not all good things come to an end. Now it is only a chosen few. I've seen such an unhappy couple. just you. Oh,
Estoy dando completamente gratis toda esta orientación. Vamos con la primera pregunta, muy... Vesiculares, piedras renales, piedras en...
You're jamming to electromagnetic radio. Music at the speed of sound. em-radio.com.